Instaclustr is a fully managed data platform that exposes your cluster's health metrics, like CPU, disk, and memory, through a Prometheus-compatible monitoring API. Grafana can't read that API directly, so the path is monitoring API, then Prometheus, and then Grafana. So in this tutorial, we'll build a live dashboard from those metrics, using a ClickHouse cluster as the example. And so for reference, we have 4 panels. We have the ClickHouse total rows, the memory available per node, the disk utilization percentage, and then the CPU utilization percentage, and each with a clean per rack legend. So let's talk about the prerequisites. So you need a running Instaclustr cluster, and this tutorial uses ClickHouse because node health metrics are identical across bundle types, so any cluster works. You also need Docker Desktop installed. So on macOS, the app is the daemon, and no sign-in is needed for local runs. And then from the Instaclustr console, you need your account ID, your username, and the Prometheus monitoring API key, which you can find at account, API keys, and then you need the Prometheus key, not the provisioning one. And so the key only shows once, so make sure that you copy it immediately, save it somewhere, and then have it backed up. So a security note, that API key authenticates to your whole account's monitoring data, not just one cluster. So never paste it into chat or public gist or leave it on screen in a video somewhere like this one. So deleting a cluster does not revoke it. So you just have to rotate the key if it's ever exposed. So just remember to use placeholders in anything that you publish. So let's jump to step 1. You need to verify the API from the command line. So set your credentials as environment variables so that the key never appears in a command that you might share. So I'll put that on the screen here. So next, hit the account-wide discovery endpoint. It proves that your credentials work and lists every cluster with its per node monitoring host names. The way I did that is with the curl command. So you should get JSON targets, each with a node ID, .prometheus, .monitoring, .instaclustr.com, host name, and labels for cluster name, cluster ID, rack, and the public IP. And so a 401, if you get the 401, it means that it's the wrong key. So a timeout means a firewall between you and Instaclustr. So note your cluster ID from the output. Now, confirm a node actually returned the metrics. So this tests the scrape path. And the way I did that is with this curl command here. And then for step 2, you need to run Prometheus. So write prometheus.yaml, scoping discovery to one cluster by appending its ID. And note that basic_auth appears twice, once for the discovery call and then once for the scrape, and both are required. So for this global, I'm scraping the interval at 20 seconds because that's Instaclustr's refresh rate, whether it's 20 seconds or greater. And for the evaluation interval, I'm also doing 20 seconds there too. And so then for scrape configs, I'm putting down the job name, the scheme, the metrics path, the configs, the URL, basic auth, username, password. And remember that YAML is whitespace sensitive. So if indentation collapses, then Prometheus silently 401s or it won't start. So you have to validate before running. The way I'm doing that is with this Python code. All right, so next we have to run Prometheus detached -d so that it doesn't hold your terminal. It's a long-running server that never returns your prompts in the foreground. If the config file doesn't exist at the mount path, then Docker Desktop silently creates an empty directory there and fails with mount a directory onto a file. So you need to confirm that the 3 nodes are being scraped. And the way I'm doing that is with this curl command. And so for step 3, we need to connect Grafana. So run Grafana, also detached, then add the data source. The way you find that is go to connections, data sources, then add the data source. And then in this case, it's going to be Prometheus, and set the URL to host.docker.internal at port 9090. So this is the one line that matters. Both services are containers. So localhost at port 9090 from inside the Grafana container ports at Grafana itself and then fails. Host.docker.internal reaches back to the host where Prometheus is published. So if you're running Grafana natively instead, then just the plain localhost at port 9090 is correct. So now click save and then test it out and expect to see successfully queried the Prometheus API if it all worked out. And so for step 4, you need to build a dashboard. This is kind of confusing, but you'll figure it out. Go to Dashboards, New, then New Dashboard, and then add a visualization, and then pick the Prometheus data source. So switch the query editor to code, and then enter each query below. In the query's options row, set the legend to rack so that the lines read US East -1A, 1B, and then set type range, but don't do both because both duplicates every series. And then add a title and the right unit and then repeat. So watch Grafana with a last 5 minutes range and 5 seconds refresh. ClickHouse spreads work evenly, so one node usually spikes harder, which is a nice visual for why per node monitoring matters. And so now the teardown. 1, delete the demo cluster in the console. 2, you need to rotate the Prometheus API key. The cluster delete doesn't revoke it. And number 3, you need to remove the containers. And then number 4, you need to remove your IP from the cluster firewall. And so that's the full chain. Instaclustr's Prometheus API to Prometheus to Grafana with a 4-panel dashboard reading live data from a ClickHouse cluster. Grafana reads the monitoring API through Prometheus, which does the work in the middle. You can run all this on Instaclustr's open source data platform. We have a free 30-day trial, and I'll put a link below. So thanks for watching, and leave a comment below of what you're building.